And then we are live and recording. So I can see us here on Facebook and on my phone. And you and I, we're just talking as if we're on a Zoom call, which is kind of nice, isn't it? So good evening, everyone. We're back for another Transformation Thursday live. And this has been going, my goodness, now this is your number, I think you're number 11 so far.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been going for quite a few weeks now, you know. So this is, let me introduce you to the lovely Cindy Galvin. And I've been so excited to have Cindy here because the last time I caught up with Cindy was, I think it was just when we went into lockdown, wasn't it? And we had a little chat.
Yeah, we did.
And the thing I love about Cindy is that every time I talk to Cindy, she's like, done all these amazing things and learned all these amazing things and created all these amazing things. And, you know, Cindy is someone who really inspires me, actually, I must say, you really do. And I think it's so important in life that you have people that you kind of look up to and that inspire you. You know, it's so important because it sort of makes you push yourself a little bit harder. So welcome, Cindy. Thank you so much for coming this evening and talking to everyone. I'm so glad to share you with everyone I know.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, Christine. I really appreciate you having me on.
So Cindy, would you like to tell us a little bit about your background? Because it's so different, isn't it, to what you actually do today, which I think is so amazing how you jumped from there to there. But you're going to have to tell us all about that, please.
Well, I'll give a very abbreviated version. I had originally wanted to be a veterinarian. That's what I was studying at university because I was following my parents' dream, like I had to have certain careers. And I didn't do that. I was going to go to law. I didn't do that. And somehow, I took a year's break before going to law school. And I went to my local newspaper and I kept hounding them to write for them because I thought, oh, I always ask a lot of questions. I'd never studied English, really. I had to take one class at university. Anyway, I ended up being a reporter for them. And my stories started being on the front page. And I was very excited because you got a byline and I was getting paid to be nosy. I thought, what could be better than this? And they encouraged me. The managing editor encouraged me to get a degree. So I got a master's in.
Oh, just a second, Cindy. Sorry. My dog is squeaking again. Every time I start these, he has to come and sit on the couch.
Sweet. So I thought maybe I'd put you to sleep by.
No, so
we have a little friend with us. So just fast forward, I ended up being an investigative reporter. And through that job, I was invited to take a job with McGraw-Hill in New York covering the nuclear industry. So I always had an interest in energy. And in fact, if I had actually gone to law school, I would have studied environmental law. And it was in covering the nuclear fuel industry that I really hit my stride. I found it the most fascinating. I realized I loved trading. And I was only one of the only women in the industry, so it helped me get a lot of information. So I was then asked to help start a nuclear fuel brokerage company, and that's where I spent a good deal of my life, just starting that company. And because there were three of us, plus our secretary, there was a lot of stuff to do. And I just went on instinct on things. And this was long before the internet. So it was all about developing relationships with people, really developing rapport, developing the trust that between each other and all of that. And I stayed in that for a long time and then moved to London in 1998, supposedly for 3 years, and I'm still here. And I still stayed in that industry. I had a consulting company, then I did something else. And then in my 50s, I decided that I hadn't been happy for a long time and I felt this pull to do something different. I still loved the energy industry, but the pull to do something different was more. And I wasn't exactly sure what that was, although I knew that I wanted to help people. And specifically at that time, I wanted to help people that were in corporate, that were in global positions that I had been in, that were feeling stressed a lot, maybe had issues like insomnia, also wanted to change, but weren't sure if at that stage in their life, they could do it. Do I have enough time to do it? Am I going to have to retrain for years? They would be worried about money, even though they were quite successful in their own right. And so that was several years ago, and you and I met through training, and I've just been training ever since, and it's been the most amazing change.
Yeah.
So that's the thumbnail sketch.
Yeah. But you know, I think it's so fascinating that you've managed to go from a career like that to the career that you have today. It's amazing. And of course, you have trained in some really interesting things. And And actually, last time I saw you in person, Cindy, we were playing with, because Cindy does this amazing thing. I'm going to have to bring it up because I just love it. And we were just having a tiny little chat about it. So I think at the time I had a bit of a sore finger, didn't I?
You did.
And you had something called a thermobuzzer. And I know that nobody knows about this thermobuzzer because I don't know anybody who knows about it apart from, you. And what it is, it's like a sort of a device that kind of looks at the heat or something around your body or whatever.
That's
and through that, you can, detect different things and how different things affect your body, emotions especially. And then we did a little bit of tapping, didn't we? And then we scanned my finger again. And it looked completely different. And then the pain disappeared. And I tell you, I have not had pain in that finger ever since. It was actually a sort of a finger that, I broke when I was about 12. And it always had a little bit of arthritic pain in it. And after we did all of that, it never came back again, honestly. And so if you can explain it a little bit better than I have and a little bit more about it, I would love for everyone to find out about it.
Well, it's an amazing thing. It's it actually shows the power of the mind and how you can change things in your body as well. So it fits in with all of the work. But the thermobuzzer is a thermal imaging camera, and what you're looking at, you can do full scans of the body, and you're looking for things like, a 1.5 to 1 degree difference, either like on the finger, across the finger. It could be comparing either side of the body. And from there, I can go through a whole process. There's something called lifestyle prescriptions, which is related to meta health, to find out what's going on, because every organ in the body, every part of the body has a theme to it. And it's too long of a process to go through now, but it's very good at pinpointing what might have caused that to go on. And it's all getting to what the emotion is that's trapped in the body, because there is a statistic that I think over 80% of our chronic illnesses are due to repressed emotion. So it's getting back to what that emotion ties to and loosening. So tapping can be part of that. There's a process that the originator of lifestyle prescriptions has put together. You can do a little bit of EMDR, eye movements like that ties in with the tapping, and it's all about releasing that. But it has an instantaneous impact on the body, which was why the before and the after was so amazing, as you knew from your finger that it had completely changed.
I mean, it absolutely blew my mind. It really did. And one day, I will, I will learn how to do this stuff one day. Not just yet, but one day I will do, because it's just, I find it so fascinating. It really, it's just incredible how powerful, our emotions are and how they do sort of, store in the body. And it was like physical proof, really, right there and then.
Absolutely. That's what I love about it, that you can actually show what's going on. I remember I was speaking at a Best You Expo, I think it was 2 years ago, and I was doing demonstrations of this. I was talking about my corporate coaching, and no one seemed interested in that, but they all wanted to have a turn in front of the camera, as you can imagine. And this fellow came up and he was quite skeptical. And he said, okay, well, you can take some scans of my face, which I did. And I pointed something out and I said, look, there's something going on. I think it was the upper left part of his mouth. I said, and what it is, it's not that there's any big problem, it's just a little temperature differential. And he said, no, nothing's going on. And then as we kept talking, eventually he said, well, in fact, I had some work done and I've gone back to my dentist twice because I'm having pain there. And he said, there's absolutely nothing wrong. So, I mean, that just shows how powerful it is. I said, well, actually, there is something wrong there. So you need to go back and have that taken care of.
That's amazing. Yeah. And right. So the other thing I wanted to say, of course, was in the time that I've known Cindy, which I think is about 3 years now or something, Cindy has managed to do so many things, including writing a wonderful book.
Thank you.
If you want to talk, do you want to talk a little bit about your book? Because I think, it's a fab book. I have read it, and I went to Cindy's book launch as well, which was very exciting because I'd never been to a book launch before. So I really enjoyed that. And now I know you've had it come out in a different language as well. Is that right?
Well, that was really, thank you. That was a great lead-in. I just got this a couple of weeks ago. My publisher sent this to me, and I'd known about this for a while, and I was wondering if it ever was going to come about, because she said that it was a Kuwait bookstore, ordered 3,000 copies of the book. So I have to make sure that I hold this up appropriately. But here's the Arabic version
Oh, wow.
of the book. And I just found that exciting because the book is all about the things that I was talking earlier. It's more to give, stepping into your new life at any age, which is really geared toward people. In the book, I say it's geared toward people 50 and older, but really I've worked with clients in their 40s and sometimes people in their 30s, but I think 40s is more realistic because at this point you've had some experience under your belt. You're thinking about wanting to make a change. And a lot of time people are thinking about what they can't do. And so this whole book is geared toward helping people realize, like, you know, as you've read, the skills that you have that you may not realize that you have, to get people focusing on what they want rather than what they don't want. Because we know, because you and I have studied this, that our minds tend to go negative quite quickly. It's hardwired into us. So it's very easy for us to focus on that. But it can be just as easy to overcome that, to be aware of it, and then say, okay, I'm not running away from something. I want to move towards something, which is so much better, just so much more neurochemically in your brain that lifts you up and inspires you. And then it's just a question of, what is it that you want? And this is a lot of the work that I do with people, because getting that clarity can be difficult. In fact, I had it myself. That's why I wrote the book. The book was based on things that I went through, because I was working with a lot of different coaches who promised great results. And a lot of it just didn't work. Or sometimes they would have a system, one system for everyone to fit into. And maybe because I just didn't like that idea, and that's why it didn't work. But I thought, no, it's not quite getting what I want. So I have a different approach. And I have my 5 steps to success, but it's the 5 steps of changing you so that you get out of your way, so that you can have the success that you want in your life.
Yeah, because it's so much about getting out of your own way, isn't it? And
exactly.
Moving on from all those sort of things that we believe about ourselves. And, you know, it's just an ongoing process, isn't it? Like, I don't know, I do wonder whether it lasts for a lifetime. You know?
I think it is a lifetime. I mean, I have to tell you something. I'm having so much fun with this. So I'm working with someone now because I'm going to be launching the online course for More to Give at the end of this month.
Yes.
And I'm going to have a little challenge before that. We'll talk about that at the end. But one of the things that she asked me to do, and this is now learning all this technology that I just have shunned learning about. And she said, right, I want you to do a 21-day challenge and just on my business Facebook page and just talk about things. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I talked about yesterday was I'd gone to a class at the gym. I hadn't been back to the gym for a while. And it was a body pump class. So you're doing different things. You're doing weights, and then you're doing this and doing that. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this one. At first I thought, oh, I'm feeling a little embarrassed about this. And then I thought, no, let's have fun with this and just laugh. Because the thing is, this whole this pressure we put on ourselves to have to do things perfect, or the pressure we feel if people are watching what we're doing. I thought that's just ridiculous because we're all caught up in our own little world. Mm. And, you know, no one's really noticing what you're doing unless you're doing something really silly or you're in their face doing that. And so I had to talk about that and just laugh about it. Yeah. And even the imposter syndrome had come up with me in terms of doing all of these video things. And I just love admitting that because we're all human. But that's part of it, isn't it? That's part of the journey.
And I think it's also, you know, when I hear that, you know, sorry about my.
Oh, he's so cute.
He wants to be part of everything. I do apologize.
Maybe he wants a new life.
Yeah. Hey, you're a live dog now. No, but you know, it's nice. I mean, I think it's lovely when, you know, we can be honest about these things as well, because, you know, I think the more people are sort of vulnerable and open about how they really feel and don't pretend to be this thing that they're not, then, you know, it's much more authentic as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, and on a different topic, some of the coaching that I do with corporates that I work with is getting them, like the CEO or people on the board, to do the same thing, that when they're talking with people in groups to say, hey, you know, here's something that I tried and it didn't work for me, but I learned something from it. It's taking away the stigma of making a mistake, because we seem to forget that this is how we grew up, because we weren't born knowing all of these things. And when we were going through school, we were learning things all the time. We'd have tests all the time, and that was just part of our life. But something happened somewhere along the way where we lose that. And we now think, oh, if I don't know it, this is some dishonor. No, that's not the case at all. I mean, Some people will be better at things than others. Some people have learned things we haven't learned. You just inspired me to learn brain working recursive therapy.
I know.
Because I just love learning new techniques.
Yeah. And what did you think about it? It's amazing, isn't it?
It's an amazing technique that works quite quickly. And I can just see working with that when I'm working with people. You know, all these things that we can bring, everything that we learn in life, whether it's a course that we're taking, an experience that we've had, are things that we can use for those of us that are working with people. We can just take that to them. I had a mastermind group today that I was facilitating, and I was using with them an exercise, sort of a guided visualization. I wasn't sure how it would go over, because usually we're talking about coaching things, we're helping coach each other and that kind of thing. So we hadn't gone down this path before. So I did this exercise and I was so pleasantly surprised. It's about working with an intention on something and then finding out what the purpose was, and it's going inside and figuring out, well, what is that trying to do for me? And then getting that other image, putting those together, and then saying, okay, so this is it. This is something I want to get rid of, but it has a positive impact in my life. So how can I change it so that's working for me in a better sense? And the feedback from one of the people on the course, who's quite an academic, I mean, she's so studied and so successful what she does. She said, you know, this took coaching to a whole different level, because I'm a feeling person. And a lot of the coaching is thinking, but I've now felt my way through this. And I thought, that's fantastic. So you never know. Like today when I did my video, I was saying that you never know how you're going to influence somebody in your life.
No,
right? Just by something that you say or something you do, or even smiling at someone.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So, you know what, Cindy, I'm really excited because you've got this challenge coming up that you're doing, aren't you? And I'm thinking, I want to be part of this challenge too, actually, if that's okay.
Yeah. This is a free 5-day challenge. It's starting a week from next Monday, and I'll be doing it at 8 o'clock for 5 days in a row. And then on the Saturday, I'll be doing a Q&A for people that sign up. Completely free. And it's called Kickstart. What is it called? Kickstart Your Change. I should know this, but I'm just the one delivering the course. But every day I'll be going live, and I'll be talking for probably 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes. And I'll be talking about things like getting clarity, getting people to focus on what they want rather than what they don't want. And every day I'll be giving an actionable thing that you can work on. And then when I do the Q&A on the Saturday, then I can answer questions for people. But it'll also be part of my More to Give group. And there'll be a link that'll be in the comments on this, so people can click on that to join the course. Please come along. I'm thrilled to be able to be delivering this. You'll learn a lot. We'll be going through the 5 steps in my program. So I'll be just discussing all of that. And I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds really good. Sounds really good fun.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's like a bit of an echo in the background. Can you hear that? I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know.
No, I can't hear that.
Okay, it might be because I've got my phone on. I don't know. I'll just turn it down. Yeah, no, I mean, if you get the chance, if you want to do it with Cindy, I know Cindy's absolutely amazing. And, you know, I definitely will be joining in as well. Because, you know, Cindy, I think also with everything that's been going on, you know, with this whole COVID thing, there's so many people who maybe have lost their jobs or, you know, are kind of just about to lose their jobs. So I think, but also at this time of the year, you know, the sort of last few months of the year, it's such a good time to become clear on what you want and then to sort of start taking those actionable steps, isn't it, to move toward.
Yeah. It really is true, because I've had some clients that have come through where they're saying, I think this whole change with people having to work from home has reconnected them to things. And it's been different for different people depending on circumstances. But I know people that have said, I just can't see going back to work in that office. I'm really enjoying being from home. I'm getting a lot done. And I think it's fantastic, because now they're able to bring into their life things that they weren't doing before. Now they're making more time to go to the gym, or maybe they're off. Like once a tennis club opened up, they can now go play tennis in the morning because they can get back in time. They're still having a meeting, say at 9:30, but it just opens up so many possibilities in life. And I know someone else whose partner in their business has now bought a place in Spain for a few million euros, as one does. And they're now thinking, well, why do we need to go into the office? If we're gonna have to be working at home, why don't we decamp to Spain and just work there with a nice, luxurious surrounding, something nice to think about in the winter. I know, sign me up. But you know, it really is true. I think people are looking for change a lot, but what's happened this year, the positive aspect of it, is that people are looking for things, recognizing, perhaps getting in touch with what's important in life. What are my values? What do I want to do? And I think even like some bosses haven't quite come around, but a lot have had to learn to let go and to trust that people are doing the work. Although there's that story that's going around where someone was working from home, but he'd outsourced his job to somebody in China. So now there's this thing on LinkedIn that, well, you know, maybe you don't really need to be in the office at all or in the company at all. But I think, you know, I'm not sure that that happens so regularly.
I suppose that's quite innovative. Really.
You could look, you see, I love that about you, Christine. You're looking at the positive side of things. And this is something, and having laughter. I mean, one of the things that I think is so important is that we just laugh about things because it changes the brain chemistry. Absolutely. And it just helps you get through things, right? And I think sometimes people have skepticism about this. They think, oh, you know, that doesn't really change things. Well, in fact, it does, you know, and there's studies that prove that this is true. Just even smiling at someone, that brings up oxytocin, a sort of bonding neurochemical, and it makes you feel close to somebody. That little boost makes you feel good.
Absolutely. No, it's also important. It's always important to focus your brain onto those positive things, you know. So yeah, definitely very, very important. I write my gratitude, I count my blessings every day, write it all down. You know, it makes such a difference. It really does. And I
often describe that, well, you know what, sorry, I was interrupting you because I was thinking, yes, that's such a great thing to do, and just emphasizing that I often tell my clients to do that, whether they're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or someone who's just really starting out and trying to figure out what to do. Even my partner, who's a skeptic extraordinaire, he now does this.
Really?
I know, and if he does it, then I think there's hope for everybody. He's very finance oriented and very, you know, I'm not into all these sorts of things. But even he started to see the change. And that's all part of training the brain. And this is the key thing. My one big message I say to people as well, sorry, I do get excited about this, so I kind of go on about it, is we are all born with the most amazing gift. And so many people will never know that they have it. And so many who do learn about it won't recognize that it really can change, and they won't take it up. And that gift is that we can take control of our minds in so many different ways. So a classic one, we learn a lot of this in NLP training as well, don't we? That we cannot control the thoughts that come up, but we can control our response to them. And if you consistently do this, reframing those thoughts, really being aware of how you're thinking, when you're thinking, what the triggers of, you can make tremendous change and start getting out of your way to have the happier life that you want, or to increase the happiness in your life.
Absolutely. And I don't know, I mean, I do feel that I find the whole sort of thing that we know in NLP, the submodalities, you know, like to explain that the pictures we make in our minds and the sounds, and, you know, I mean, we can go in and really change things on that level as well. I find it so useful, you know, just to shrink the image down or turn the sound down and move it away or move it to the side. I mean, all those sort of things are very powerful, aren't they? You know, in changing our thoughts.
They're huge.
How we feel.
Even those people that are watching right now, anybody that has an idea if they want to do what they want to do, just see where that picture is in their mind and make that picture make it as big as it possibly can be, and have it moving and have colors in there, and maybe you have sound and maybe no border around the edge. And when you have a picture this big, that really excites your brain. If it's off there, way over there, that's just not going to do it, right? And that's part of the phobia cure. You take something, you know, like if somebody's afraid of something, it's usually right in their face like this, like spiders, and they have this big picture of the spider, and you just shoot it off to the side. The same is true of when you want to create the change in your life. and think about what you want. I like doing that a lot better than having vision boards. So I, in my second book that I wrote that hasn't quite come out yet, it's a follow-up to this one. I have a controversial chapter in there about why I don't like vision boards, but it's not for the reason that people will think, but I'm just going to leave that out there. Not saying that they don't.
That's really interesting, because I did a vision board. Actually, I did a vision board workshop at the beginning of the year, and I tell you, everything on my vision board, it was very sort of, it wasn't sort of like, I want a car, I want a house, you know, it was very sort of intuitive, really. And everything on there has, you know, come true. So I think I need to make a new one now. It's amazing. So I found it very useful, but it's the first vision board that I've ever done, actually. But I found it really useful. But I look forward to reading that.
Well, you know, they can help. It's just that sometimes, I think that you are quite good at how you went about it, but sometimes people put a lot of faith in, okay, I've just put this on the vision board, and then they've told their mind, oh, well, I've already got this, and then they stop having the motivation to go toward it. So that's the problem that you can run into.
No,
There's ways to overcome that when you do those boards, because that's not unlike having that picture right in front of your face when you've got the vision board, because you're training your mind to focus on what you want. And therefore, when your brain is filtering like the 40 million pieces of data that are coming in at any different moment, it's always going to focus on the things that you're focusing on, so that it can filter those and only bring that important information into you. So the more that you're focusing on the vision board and what you want, then that will help direct your mind. It's like taking the flashlight and shining it where you want.
No, I mean, I have a look at it sort of every few days, and just to sort of remind myself. I use it sort of a bit like a sort of a compass, really. You know, every day I look at it, or every few days, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm doing the right thing to, you know, do these things that I want to have in my life. You know. And it's quite useful, I find. But, you know, maybe it's like there's different kinds of vision boards, but I felt this one, mine's like pretty. It's got flowers and it's got books.
Nice.
And, you know, it's not sort of, you know, I want a diamond ring, or I want this. It's more about my personal development more than anything.
Yeah. I think that's why it's worked for you as well.
Yeah,
because it's
possibly.
Yeah. I think that's great, Christine, because you've grown so much since we've met.
I know.
Different things. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I'm a little proud of myself too. Actually, I've come a long way. But you know, still a long way to go. But there you go. But you know, oh gosh, the time is running away with us again. You know, we've had a few
2 minutes. This happens when we talk. You know, the time just flies by.
It does. But I just wanted to say, if anybody's watching right now and you have any questions for Cindy, you can either ask them now in the comments below, or if you want to, you can post them later. It's completely up to you, and hopefully, well, I'm sure you would answer any questions that maybe came up. If
I'd be happy to do that.
Excellent, that's fantastic. And yeah, we've got a few people. We had a few people actually on there tonight, so that's lovely.
Oh, that's great. Hello, everyone.
So what I'll do is, for this 5-day free challenge, I'm going to, after we're done, it's going to upload to Facebook, and I'm going to put the link to the challenge underneath in the comments, and yes, and I'll be clicking on it and signing up, because, you know, I think it's great. I love challenges, you know, and I know that you've got so much to offer, and so much, you know, you've done so much learning over the last few years.
I have a lot to share, and not just all the things in life. And I just really come along. Whoever's watching this, please come along, because I'm going to be teaching some really cool things. And after the 5 days, you will have a direction. You will get some clarity on whether there's something you know you want to do different, or you don't know what you're going to do. Is just some little tips throughout those 5 days. And then, of course, we'll have the Q&A on the 6th day, where you can really talk about, you can start sharing. It's going to be thrown on my Facebook groups. You can be sharing things there, and I'll come on live on the Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Because the thing is, I think it's so important also that you keep reevaluating your goals, isn't it? You've got to keep going, is this still what I want, or do I want something different? It's so important, isn't it?
I think it never ends, and I think it is. I think you're absolutely right, because, but then if you have that kind of mind, I think if you're happy, and I'm always looking at evaluating things, and the more that I learn, influences what I want to do, and the more that I want to give back, and it kind of informs the direction. And I think this happens in life. We go in a certain direction, something comes along, we think, oh, that's where I want to go. With that. And as long as you're happy with it, and as long as you internally know this is right for you and fits the values and beliefs, then that's great.
And the more you learn and the more you sort of expand that comfort zone, I suppose the more kind of, there are more opportunities, because you can sort of all of a sudden see yourself doing things that I mean, last year this time, Cindy, there's no way I would have thought I would be doing these live videos and interviewing people, you know. So it's been a great way of pushing myself out of my comfort zone a little bit. And it's just been fab to share everyone that I've shared so far, and I've still got, my goodness, loads of people to come on. So
fantastic.
It's brilliant. But you know what? It is now 8:30 already, and as much as I could sit here and talk to you all evening, and because it's so nice to catch up with you again, I guess we better say goodbye to people, unless there is some questions in there. No, I can't see anybody asking any questions. But yeah, any questions you've got, just put them in the comments below, and I'm sure Cindy will see it and answer them for you if you have any.
Yeah, definitely.
And if not, I'll see you on your 5-day challenge, and I look forward to it.
Thanks. It's been great, Christine. Thank you again for inviting me on. It's just been a real pleasure.
And more fun. Thank you for sharing all that you know, because you're so good at sharing your knowledge. This is where I feel like I get stuck sometimes. I've got all this knowledge in my head, but I need to become better at sharing it.
You need to get it out there. People need your gifts, right? And what you've learned, because we can all study the same thing, but the way that we express it can help somebody understand it where they wouldn't have understood it before, because we'll be talking about it through our own filters based on our experiences. So we need your voice out there, which you're doing with this show.
I'm giving it my best go. That's all you can ever do, isn't it? So thank you so much, Cindy. Have a lovely evening and enjoy your weekend. And same for everyone who's been watching this evening. And you take care, and I'll catch you up.
We'll catch up soon. Yeah. Thanks so much. Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.